Next, let us talk about financial feasibility study. This is a part of the feasibility study report for the Integrated Design Project 1. The purpose of conducting this financial feasibility study is to determine whether the project is profitable. This gives you an idea whether the project is worth considering. You will only consider the project that is profitable. Otherwise, you can just forego the project. The second purpose of conducting these financial feasibility studies is for you to estimate your capital return. This gives you an idea whether the project is worth investing. Of course, you would like to have high capital return so that your company can earn money and gather sufficient capitals and cash flow to finance the future project. Checking the profitability of the project can be considered as a screening tool. Only those profitables are considered. And then checking the capital return help you to choose the best project that you should go that give you the highest capital return due to limited resource of your company. There may be several projects for you to choose. How will you know which you should choose? Then you can do the estimations for every single project and decide which project should be taken. Now, when it comes to the estimations, there are rough estimations and fair estimations. The rough estimations is less accurate, whereas the fair estimations is more accurate. At the early stage of the project, before you have sufficient technical informations, normally we will start with rough estimations, or sometimes we call it as preliminary estimations. The preliminary estimations is not accurate and it is relatively conservative. Nevertheless, this is sufficient enough for you to do the initial screening and make decisions on which project that you should go for. Now, in the context of Integrated Design Project 1, you are to produce all the technical design plus providing a feasibility studies. All these are carried out in concurrent within the first semester of the Integrated Design Project. While doing this project feasibility studies, the technical design has not yet finalized. That gives you limited information for you to work out the detailed estimations related to the financial feasibility studies. That's why we will start with preliminary estimations. For preliminary estimations, you will need the subdivision plan, which is approved by the local authorities for a development. The information available in the subdivision plan include the numbers of units, types of the building, the lot number, the land size, and etc. At the same time, you will need also the architectural drawing. This will give you some basic information regarding the building areas. With the information available, you can start doing some preliminary estimations. Let's say you are given a subdivision plan. In total, there are a numbers of subdivided lot. Let's say this project is for residential. The buildings are terrace house. There will be corner lot and the intermediate lot. From the subdivision plan, you get the land areas. And then from the building plans, you get the built-up areas. Next, you will need to estimate the land cost and the construction cost. The land cost is calculated on basis of the land areas, whereas the construction cost is calculated on basis of the built-up areas. There are estimated costs to be multiplied with the built-up areas or the land areas in order for you to get the construction and land cost. Now the question here is, where do you get the estimated cost? The estimated cost is acquired normally based on the market value. If you are in the middle of negotiating with the landowner, then you will have a price as required by the landowner if you wish to purchase from the landowner. Let's say you have a piece of land of 2 acres, which is sold at Ringgit Malaysia 3 million. Based on the subdivision plan, there are 16 units of the buildings, 4 corner lots, and 12 intermediate units. The units are those to be sold to the customers. As for the road and drains, and even the open space, those should be surrendered to the local authorities. Now, when you estimate the cost for the land, that means you are talking about the cost per unit areas. You cannot simply divide the 3 million ringgit Malaysias by a total of 2 acres land, as this can underestimate the land cost that you're going to charge to the buyers. The road, drain, and the open space are to be surrendered to the local authorities free of charge. That means you cannot earn anything out of these land areas. Therefore, you should quantify the land cost per unit areas on basis of the areas that you can sell, which is the total areas of all the 16 units lot here. With that, you can get a good estimations in terms of the land cost per unit areas. Multiply the land areas as calculated from the subdivision plan. With that, you are able to obtain the land cost. Next is to estimate the cost for the built-up areas. Again, we are talking about the cost per unit area. The cost per unit area, it will be based on the market value or historical data that you acquired from your previous project. Let's say you have previous project. You can get the informations of the total cost for the constructions divided by the total building areas of that particular project. From there, you can get an estimated cost per unit areas. This is provided that the project nature is similar, which is also meant for the residential units, specifically terrace houses, and the cost of the materials is more or less similar. You may also factor in the inflations, as normally the cost of the raw materials may increase over time. If your previous project is few years back, then you add up a bit for the inflations for you to estimate the construction costs. This is on basis that you have historical data for you to work out the estimated costs. Let's say you are in another scenario which you do not have any previous project as a reference. How are you going to estimate the cost per unit built-up areas? This can be done by doing marketing surveys for similar buildings at nearby area which is currently under promotions. Let's say now the selling price is 600k for corner lot and 530k for the intermediate. Normally in the brochures, the details of the building's areas are given, either in the mode of specifications or in the mode of the key plan. From there, you can do some estimations in terms of the total built-up areas for the corner lot and the intermediate lot. Now, to get the estimated cost per unit built-up areas, it will be dividing the selling price by the total built-up areas. Now, if you are doing this method, probably you could omit the land cost, because the selling price here, it will be the lump sum of the built-up areas as well as the land cost for that particular unit. So if you use this method to estimate the cost of a building, you shouldn't double count the land cost areas. With that, this gives you some ideas how do you estimate the construction cost as well as the land cost. Since this is a pure estimations, you're going to expect some levels of variations to the actual conditions, particularly when all the technical design has been confirmed. However, we are talking about preliminary estimations. You would like to make a quick estimations and quick decisions whether you should go for the project or not before you proceed with all the technical designs. Even though it is an estimations, the so-called estimated cost must be as realistic as possible. This estimated cost can be any number. If those numbers is inaccurate, very significantly varied from the actual conditions, this can lead to poor decisions, which you expect your project is going to be profitable. However, at the end of the day, you are actually making loss out of the project. This can undermine your financial stability of your company. We are talking about a huge amount of money. Therefore, the bottom line here is for you to make as realistic estimations as possible, even though you do not have sufficient information. Now, there is no standard answers for you to acquire the estimated cost. As long as you can justify and you know what you are doing, which to some degree can reflect the actual cost, whichever methods that you are using, it shall complement you to work out a good estimations in terms of the construction cost and the land costs.